I got it.
No!
Yes!
Oh, come on.
Can't believe I won. It's getting more common for people to work from home, but some people have been making it work for years, like Matt and Stephanie, also known as the Theorists. If you want to take a deep dive into nerdy theories from video games, movies, and more, their YouTube channels are where you want to be. And today I'm talking to them about big changes that happened to their workspace, including a cross-country move as they've grown into a pop culture, media, empire, all from the comfort of their home. I'm Gabe Bolt, here to show you the small shifts that you can make in your life that will lead to a huge impact in your financial future. This is Big Change. Rocket Homes scraped their website and get this. There was an almost 17% increase in listings for houses that contained the word office from 2019 to 2020. Obviously, more people have been working at home since 2020, but jobs were already trending in that direction anyway. In 2018, the US Department of Bureau and Labor Statistics reported that nearly 24% of full-time employees worked some amount of time from home. Finding the right work-life balance can be a challenge, whether you're in a home office, at the kitchen table, or cobbling something together in your basement. Especially if, like me, you're in the YouTube game, there's a lot more time and equipment involved than you might expect. And it takes more than just ambition and a laptop. And that's why I am so excited to talk to the Theorists, Matt and Stephanie. Their nearly 28 million YouTube subscribers are obsessed with watching their breakdowns of the most minute details of, well, everything. They've managed to keep their fans happy, expand their channel lineup, and alleviate work from home space issues. Matt and Stephanie, thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you so much for having us. We're honored to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to start off, would you mind telling us about your working situation? Like, have you guys always been working from home?
Well, we started out in offices and it was much more fun to work together. So then we worked from home together.
We had real jobs back in the day.
Yeah,
We-
whatever.
It hasn't always been working out of our basement. We've just evolved into working out of our basement.
Exactly.
So we didn't really have anywhere that was a sound booth or something that was like sounded nice for a recording purpose. And so I would just sit in our very tiny broom closet with a bunch of coats hanging over my head, and that became my sound booth. And fast forward 10 years later, and I'm still in a glorified closet, it's just that the closet has gotten bigger and bigger over the years.
I do the same thing. I don't have closets or anything for good sound, so sometimes I go under the sheets to record.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It's especially true when we're traveling. Stephanie can attest, like the number of times that she has helped me set up a tent over a table or a desk in a hotel room.
I can't tell you how many blanket forts I have built in my life. We calculated that we have set up blanket forts and he's recorded episodes in over 30 countries. So
Whoa.
On 5 continents, which is kind of crazy.
It seems like you guys have a lot of fun. I love it.
We do. I think when you've been doing this for 10 years, you're either enjoying it or you've lost it a little bit, and so you've convinced yourself that you're still enjoying it. We tried having an office space for a couple years, and it just didn't jive with the way that we felt comfortable working or the way that our company was really structured.
What are some of the struggles you guys have faced working from home?
So the biggest struggle of working from home is actually just figuring out where everything goes. Separating your personal life from your work life is a struggle when you work from home. Trying to leave your work is really hard when your work is like on your kitchen table, right? So over the years, I think we've gotten better and better at figuring out how to parse up our physical space to also help us create mental space, if that makes sense.
We have kind of one area that's dedicated to like, this is personal space. No employees are walking here. No work stuff appears here. This is like when we are at this area in our house, that is where work stops and it is like our mental free zone.
We had to get really smart in our subsequent like living situations about really separating out where we were working, where we were like doing everything else in our life, and like mastering the floor plan of how to navigate both of those worlds.
Yeah, we had to become masters of the floor plan, not just where we parse out like where the workspace is, but also the flow of movement. And it took time for us to learn that.
It sounds kind of weird and a little bit silly, but it really is true.
Yeah, you know how like amusement parks like map out like where people are gonna stop and you know what rides are gonna bring them to the back of the park? That's like us with our house at this point. I started with constantly bringing the computer and the laptop into bed with me. And I would just sit in bed and I would write and write and write. But all of a sudden, sleeping and working became this like modeled mess. And it was just confusing. And I would pass out at my computer in bed, and it wasn't satisfying for me. And it was just a bad situation, right? And even something as simple as dedicating, hey, here is my desk, and I'm keeping my computer, you know, my laptop here, or on a couch, or like having specific locations where the laptop was and wasn't allowed to go, already started to delineate what was and wasn't workspace. And
I don't know anyone who's taken longer to convince that a desk is a good piece of furniture to own. So it literally
I was
took
slow. I get it
years.
now.
He was like, no, I work in bed. I work on the couch. I work on the floor. And I was like, I don't think you understand. A desk is where humans do work.
That's great. You guys are becoming so professional. What was that move like? You talked about your first place that you have, and I think you were in California before, and now you're in North Carolina. So what was that move like?
Our most recent one was probably our most complicated, honestly. The one that really felt like this is like a grown-up move. This is like how adults move, because we had a kid and a cat. And you want to
the cat's the real differentiator there, honestly.
Yeah, he's the difficult one, you know, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Planning around the move was essential. I'm a really big planner. I love planning trips and stuff like that, but this was like
Excel spreadsheets upon Excel spreadsheets
Yeah,
when we're talking about steps planning.
So I had timelines planned out for us of, you know, this is the day we're gonna pack, this is the day we're gonna pack up the office, this is the day we're gonna pack up the house, the movers are gonna go here, and then they're going to leave, and this is the day that they're going to end up on the other side of the country. It required a ton of coordination between our team, our moving team, making sure that we had the keys on the other end so that we could actually, you know, get into this house that we bought across the country.
It became this kind of like seamless flow into our new location.
Yeah, we had about a 2-day window on the other end, so we couldn't afford to dilly-dally.
Yeah, otherwise all our couches would just be on the front
On the lawn.
Not good for anyone.
That seems like it really paid off. A move can seem super chaotic. I know you guys have a decent sized team. Did they move with you?
So at this point, our team is about 7 full-timers, and we have about like 20 to 28 freelancers all around the world. Their life stage is all over the place. We have some who are still in college, but then we also have some of the longer-term members on our team who are having kids, buying houses.
And one of them is getting married next year. We have all kinds of stuff to celebrate with our team, which is like fantastic. You get to see them over the long haul.
Yeah, it's really empowering to watch that growth of people who you work with and grow along with them, and, you know, see everyone kind of maturing together, all connected through this business.
We're actually about to move myself in a couple of weeks here, and my wife's going to be leaving her job and working from home. Do you guys have any tips on like working from home together and not getting, you know, on each other's nerves?
Yeah, we didn't really realize it going in, but we actually have different working styles.
Yeah.
So one of us works at a desk, one of us doesn't.
I work at a desk now.
When we first started working together, we realized, and we both work long hours, we both work really hard, but when we come up to a problem that we can't really solve right away, my solution to that is to walk away, get a breather, take my mind off of it for a little while, and then come back and sort of tackle it with fresh eyes. Whereas Matthew has a really hard time doing that. He's like, no, if I have a problem that I need to solve, but I can't do it, I'm just going to hack away at it for as long as it takes to get through it,
We
right?
call it banging my head on the wall.
Yeah.
Which is pretty accurate.
We realized that we were both working just as hard as the other person, but we had to actually communicate about that to understand the other person's working style.
The other thing I would throw out there is, I mean, even with us as the master of the floor plan, one of the things that we've had to figure out is setting aside rooms for multiple calls at the same time. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Like usually, like if one person's taking a call, you can like kind of duck away and that's easy. But if both people are on a call at the same time, it doesn't happen too often. When it does, that's a big point of friction for a lot of people if you're working at home.
At the very least, a good headset.
Yeah.
Just a really good noise canceling headset.
100% good headset and you know, if you can swing it, a cardioid microphone,
Oh,
which
yeah.
actually does a really good job of canceling sound coming from the opposite direction. So it's only reading what's coming out of your mouth, and there can be ambient noise in the room, and it's not going to pick it up.
Those are awesome tips. Thank you guys very much. Also, congrats on 10 years. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. We are older than dirt on YouTube.
That was a great chat. And I love that their channel growth has meant that so many of their team members were able to buy homes. And taking small actions step by step to make sure that their move across the country wasn't a mess, but was actually a great idea. Planning it out far in advance means that everything went as smoothly as possible. Their trial and error setups in the past also helped them know what they were looking for in a new house, like walk-in closets. But seriously, if you work from home and have to take a lot of calls or record yourself, a quiet, private space with doors that can actually close is a necessity. I also like how they describe themselves as masters of the floor plan. You gotta think outside the box and rearrange it till it works for you. And you have to have the right tools to get your work done. If your work from home setup is sluggish, you can upgrade your Wi-Fi routers, and don't underestimate the power of a second monitor. And just like MatPat said, a good quality headset can be a lifesaver. The place you live has to work for you now more than ever. Making the most of the space you have is the best mindset to start with. And if you have time, you could even take out a home improvement personal loan and build your new office right in your house. So what's your first simple step? Work together and dream up your shared workspace, then head over to Rocket Loans and check out your options. Thank you to Matt and Stephanie for coming on Big Change. And if you guys want to see more episodes, you can click right over there, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below.